The 3-year-old prep at Aqueduct on Saturday was the one-turn Gotham. It was a mile distance. Here is the field. You had 9 signed on in here, and I think a lot of people looked at it and said, once Dale Romans scratched free drop Billy from the Fountain of Youth and shipped him north to run in the Gotham this Saturday, it was just a matter of how far, how much would the winning margin be, because he just looked like he laid over this field. He was bet down to odds of 8-5, and unfortunately for the backers of the chalk, he bombed in a pretty big way. We'll dive into that more, but a horse who's got some pedigree. He had a little bit of steam coming into the 3-year-old campaign as a whole, and he also exited that Kentucky Jockey Club. He got the job done. This is Enticed winning the Gotham. Frank Miramati with the call.
The field turns for home. Old Time Revival trying to pull off the upset. Enticed is chasing with determination. Free drop Billy on the outside, and then Firenze Fire. They're in the final furlong. Enticed lengthening his stride, trying to get to this long shot Old Time Revival, and he collars him at the 16th pole. It will be Enticed, sharp in victory and wrapped up by Junior Alvarado as they stroll home in the Gotham. Old Time Revival.
Enticed gets the job done for Godolphin and Kieran McLaughlin, $8.80 on top. Old Time Revival, I thought, ran giant, $28.80. I'm sorry, $25.80 to place. And the number 6 free drop Billy, $3 to show. The $1 exacta comes back $123.25. The 50-cent trifecta comes back $284.75, and the 10-cent super 9765 comes back $150.35. Enticed is 3 of 5 lifetime, over $410,000 in career earnings. He's owned by Godolphin Racing LLC, trained by Kieran McLaughlin, bred by Godolphin in Kentucky, ridden to victory by Junior Alvarado. You see the pedigree. He is by Medaglia d'Oro out of the very talented mare It's Tricky, who was by Mineshaft herself. Enticed earns a 95 Beyer speed figure and a 117 Timeform US rating. The runner-up, Old Time Revival, a 90 Beyer, a 116 Timeform US rating. Free Drop Billy, an 83 Beyer, 108 Timeform, and Firenze Fire, 79 Beyer, 105 Timeform. This was a race that was a standard, typical dirt race in North America. Fast early, slow late. You look and see where all these horses were positioned. Anybody close to the pace, up the track, with the exception of Old Time Revival, which is why I was so taken by this effort for Ken Decker. I thought this horse ran really well. He was out there. You saw the fractions, 23, 46, and 1, 3/4 and 11 and 3. He got a little bit tired at the end, and really, I say that, he finished the same way that Free Drop Billy did. The only difference was Enticed was the one that actually finished with, I don't even want to call it a lot of energy. He was geared down late, so it looked even better, but he only came home in 26 going a mile. So it's not as though we had anybody really cruising at the end of this race. I thought Enticed, who, all things considered, he was wide throughout. I think Alvarado rode him like you ride the best horse. Make sure that there's no issues. And I know he broke from the outside, but keep him out there. Don't let any sort of nonsense happen. Keep him out there so he can go out there and make a run. He did so and really just steamrolled the field. For Old Time Revival, I thought this was arguably the best performance of the entire race, considering he did all the dirty work early on, and he stayed on. This was his first real acid test against, air quotes, quality company, shipping up out of Maryland. He ran really well. Free Drop Billy, disaster. I don't know what you want to do with this race here, because I don't think a one-turn mile is what he wants. So it was interesting and odd a little bit that he was going to come here anyway. But then when you see how Promises Fulfilled ran, you go, well, maybe Dale knew something was going on here. I don't know, man. This was a decided step backward for this horse as well, similar to Vino Rosso in that run down at Tampa. I don't know what you want to do with him going forward. There's something here. There's some talent, but boy, this is, you don't want to have a hiccup. But as I'm going to echo what I said with those first 2 races that we went over, scenario where, okay, you have a hiccup, get it out of the way now because you still got time. You can come back in a race like the Bluegrass. You know that Free Drop Billy loves Keeneland, and you got plenty of time to get ready for the first Saturday in May. So just because of a dull effort, don't go through and just draw a line through them. They've got, at least have some time. If you're going to stub your toe, you don't want to stub your toe, but if you're going to do it, now is the time to do it, where you still have a little bit of time to recover. Firenze Fire, disappointing effort from this horse as well. I would like to think that at some point he's going to be able to get it back here. This is off of a little bit of a laugh. We hadn't seen him since the beginning of February. think this is what he wants to do. Think he's a one-turn kind of horse. Get him back to 7/8 of a mile. Maybe you run him in a race like the Bayshore. But I think after this, I personally, if I were part of the connections, I would not go on to a race like the Wood or anywhere else. I would keep him at these one-turn distances and hope that you can get him back to his best. Enticed gets the job done with a 95 buyer. The problem I have with this race as a whole, with the exception of Free Drop Billy, I don't think any of these horses are really true routers. I think they are one-turn types, and that doesn't bode well for a race at 10 furlongs at Churchill Downs. I just think there's some things here. You've got talent. I just don't know how far, what their sweet spot is. What is the optimal distance for a number of these runners? And it just kind of added to the, let's say, not unsatisfying feeling that I've had in recent results from these 3-year-old preps, but I'm unsure. I don't know what to make of some of these runners because you look great one time and then you're, Free Drop Billy looked like he probably should have, he ran a winning race in the Holy Bull and then he comes back and runs poorly here. And you have a horse like Enticed who runs poorly in the Holy Bull and he comes back and wins this race, probably at a distance and a configuration that is more suited for him. It all sort of had me a little bit, man, I don't know what to do with these 3-year-olds. The run out at Santa Anita was really good in San Felipe. I thought the top 2 ran very well, including Kentaka running 3rd. I thought the Tampa Bay Derby, as good as Quip looked, I kind of want him to prove to me that that's actually what he is before I go buying in wholeheartedly. But if that's what he is, certainly he's interesting. But again, he paid $40. There's a part of me, you gotta prove that you actually belong there. Flame Away, he ran well, but I'm still not sure. Distance and ultimately, he's not getting any faster. Is this what he is? Is he a turf horse, synthetic? I don't know. And then you've got a race like this where all along I kind of was dubious of it as a whole because it's a one-turn mile. And how is that for a prep leading into a race like the Kentucky Derby or even leading into a race like the Wood Memorial, like we'll have as the final prep at Aqueduct? And then that leads us to Sunday, and we're going to do something here on this recap show that we've never done before. We're going to look at an allowance race.